difficult subject matter to talk about. But in the beginning, I did like the arc. It made sense for her and where she was coming from, that she still has some nightmares, that she's still troubled. You can see it. You can see it in her face, but she still believes in Andor. And that's her thing. She's like, Andor will show up. The whole time she kept reminding everybody, he'll be here. He'll be here. It was just the controversy, though, was in what the dirty Imperial guy was trying to do to her, very adult nature. And the fact that they even had to imply it, and she said the word. I think the thing that went over the top even more so is that she said the word. Obviously, the whole thing was terrible. I do feel like you didn't need to necessarily show that. I don't think
show it or say it.
Both. I mean, I think if you showed it, but very minimally, like they went a little long with it. I feel like, and they were really trying to build the tension. And I understand why they did it, because it did make us all feel uncomfortable. We were all like, nah, I don't want to see this. No. Like, but on the flip side, there was the satisfaction of her destroying the dude. So he got his comeuppance. He did not get what he wanted. And that was a satisfying nature of it. And we understand how dirty and sleazy the Empire can be. And that just, again, solidified for us in the show in the first 3 episodes that the Empire, they're disgusting pigs.
The Empire
wartime,
cannot win.
No, exactly.
It's in the first line of this thing. It was literally like the first line of the show.
Damn.
Yeah,
maybe it was the second line.
Wow.
Okay. Close enough.
Close enough in the beginning. But so I'm on the fence with it. I understand what they were going for, but I don't think it was necessarily needed.
Yeah.
Now, am I upset about it? Like everybody, that some people, not everybody, some people. And again, if your opinion is different than us, that's totally fine, and we respect your opinion. And that's why I'm kind of seeing both sides on this one. It was not enough for me to take me out. It reminded me of so many, again, World War II movies in which this stuff happened. Yeah. And they showed it, and you were just like, yes, own those evil dudes.
Yeah, they get what's coming to them.
They get what's coming.
On that,
so that's kind of my take on that. What about you, Dan?
Smart. No, I mean, hot take Hunter, her pledging him to unalive was my favorite part of the 3-episode arc.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there's that.
That's fair.
I mean, it was something that needed to happen after that. I mean,
Definitely.
Those guys could get away with crap or whatever, and not here, not now. So I'm thankful that, at least in this sense, the evildoer got what was coming, and he just he's done. And it was violent. Yeah, it was definitely violent. This is the our PG-13 whatever, pushing the envelope that they're doing here with this more adult kind of Star Wars version. While we have the comedy or whatever of Cyril and Deidre, this is the opposite, and this is the heavy stuff that is. I think they didn't need to say the word, to be honest, as well. That was
kind of the point, because
I feel like
point.
That took us into our world, but at the same time, that's what it was, and they called it like it was, and maybe that'll hit people in a way that it needs to. I don't know why, but I could see that causing the controversy.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that is the controversy.
Right. And there's still dark things that have happened in Star Wars. And a lot of people are saying they're shocked and appalled by it. But I mean, there's slavery in Star Wars.
Right.
And there's implications in that. There's
certain words that you
so many things.
Yeah,
but they don't say the words.
Yeah.
And I think that was the moment the moment that they did cross the line. And you kind of had a good point
just questions
earlier though about it though, where her saying that, I mean, still made sense. Because if somebody was trying to unalive you, I mean, and you say that person was trying to unalive me, like obviously you don't want them not to have to say that in some way. So you're
just calling what happened in a moment of trauma and shock.
Right.
And so you can't blame the victim of saying, calling it out. I mean, it's like, hey, whoa, I just survived here. Right. This is crazy. This is insane. Like the guy, because was she saying that to the other Imperial officer who was like, come out with your hands up?
Yeah, and she said it to him.
That's what it was, because she was trying to be like, maybe.
But then even he was like, yeah, but he's unalived.
right. Maybe she was trying to get some kind of grace or something, but it was tough.
Yeah, it was.
I'll be honest, the episode probably should have been TVMA or maybe stretching 14.
There's most.
You're not wrong.
You're not wrong. What, isn't it TV 14?
Yeah, it is TV
It's-
14.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe stretching TV 14. I see what you're
Yeah,
saying there.
yep.
Yeah. I mean, they didn't show
'Cause-
anything technically.
Mhm.
I think, and there was no swear word or anything like that.
Right.
So I understand why they put TV 14.
Right.
But
These sorts of things are alluded to in the Return of the Jedi, Jabba Palace.
Mm-hmm.
With the
Alluded
slaves,
to
yeah. I mean,
loosely.
definitely for
Yeah.
sure that is there and implied.
Yeah.
So, but they didn't go so far to say the bad things.
Well, even in Rebels, there was kind of
And
a
it was
weird.
quick.
Yeah, there was a weird arc where Hera had to dress up like a Twi'lek, kind of
Dancer.
assistant. Kind, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, she dressed up to play the part of a Twi'lek being sold to
Oh, I see.
one of
Yeah,
the
yeah,
huts or one of the
Right.
kind of skeezy bad guys, And it was just kind of, I'm saying like that kind of stuff is there even in Rebels, So it's not like, I'm not saying I don't like that part in
Right.
it, but it is there are bad seedy people that do bad seedy things, and the Imperials are not excused from that level of seedy things. You know what I'm saying? They're not just there to have a heavy hand. No, they're going
Right.
to beat up the people. They're going to take advantage of them at every turn. They're going to lie to them, make us food, do this, just
Right.
very similar to, like you said, the World War II style oppression,
Atrocities.
subjugation,
Mm-hmm.
and worse. Like, you're not human. We're the Empire. You're
Pretty
not
much.
human.
Yeah.
We're going to do
You're
whatever
less
we want.
than.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so as a rebel, you're like, okay, if that's how you're going to treat me, we're going to fight back, and
Yeah.
we're going to do what we got to do.
You
And
should.
thank goodness Bix got her moment to fight back and give him what he deserved,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
because we were all cheering.
And in some ways, I see KG here says, I think most 14-year-olds are aware of what that is. And to an extent, yes. And also, I'm not saying, okay, this is a tough one, because as a parent, you have the responsibility to warn and teach your children. And it's the challenging part is, at what age do you have these conversations?
Mm-hmm.
I think 14 is getting pretty close to that age, if not the right age in some ways, to warn your children. You don't have to go into detail or anything horrible, but to be aware of situations that you don't want to be in, to avoid these things.
Yeah.
And I personally believe it's better to discuss these things with your children from a safe place in your home,
Mm-hmm.
so that someone else isn't telling them that might not be the best way to do it. So
Mm-hmm.
again, that's why TV 14, it's tough though. I still, in Star Wars, it still feels not right in a lot of ways, but
Because there's other words that if you said in the Star Wars universe, you would be like, is that a Star Wars thing or is that our thing?
right.
Like, there's been other dialogue, you know what I'm saying? Not like heavy words, but there's just other dialogue that, like, I don't think that belongs in Star, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like they cross over or they don't match, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I guess I have a little bit different take.
Good.
I agree
that's
with
fine.
what you're saying overall for sure, and definitely didn't like it. But the word didn't bother me at all. It's not a bad word.
Mhm.
And like you said, she was saying what almost happened to her in shock and, just shock of it happening so quickly. And then she killed him, justifiably too. But overall, it to me, it just showed that the Empire really is that bad. And so many times in shows and movies, and even in Star Wars, it drives me nuts how the bad guys are given that redemption arc. And in this series and in this show, they don't deserve it. Even as much as I'm on the Dedrill and Sierra train,
Right. That's
Cyril train,
That's the
they're
odd
still bad. I
oddity.
still see the evil there.
Yep,
And
yep.
So we can have fun with it, but making things real with using words like that, to me, it wasn't a problem. But I get the whole controversy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, for sure. That's a good
Okay.
take. No, that's totally fair. And everybody else's opinions out there is fair as well. And we're glad you had a different take on it. That makes sense.
It would be sad if people turned away the show because of that. Or maybe
Yeah,
would it be
yeah.
sad? Would it be, or would
I
you
wouldn't get it.
just give them the
Mhm.
space? I don't know. That's where it comes to.
Sure.
Like, are we going to bash the show because they did that? And to the point where we're like, nobody should watch this because of that. I know some people have already said that. Some big YouTubers,
Yeah.
of course, we talked about it last week or the week
Right.
before. So it's, I don't know if it's that far. If
we're calling them out here. No, I'm just joking.
Yeah, and we want to cause a controversy.
No, we do not.
Views.
We are not looking for controversy.
No, but we just disagree with that. I don't think it's something that should destroy the entire reputation of the show. I think it went a little far, but at the same time, from our perspective, it's uncomfortable. But maybe sometimes you need to be uncomfortable to learn and grow.
Agreed.
Yeah. That's a great. Yes.
I mean, if things are comfortable all the time, you're just going to be casual and whatever. You're not going to learn anything. So
yeah,
that's all I'm going to say about that.
That's a great point, man. And I think some of those YouTubers that are coming at it from the others, I think they just disliked. I think they're at a point. You have to sit back and examine yourself at some point. And that's how I went into a monologue last night about it, and I won't redo it here, but you got to sit back and examine where are you coming from and why do you dislike something? Is it justifiable? Like for us, we always, even if we don't love something, we try to give it the light of day as much as possible. And we will watch it through till the end to make sure that nothing changes, because who knows how that's going to do. And some people, I think, were just so turned off that they didn't even watch the rest of it. And then they still just dislike it. But why did they dislike it in the first place? I know most of the people are saying it's because it doesn't feel like it's Star Wars to them. And what I want to say to that is I feel like you're narrowing, you're putting Star Wars in a box in some ways whenever you do that. And I'm not saying that's right or wrong. I'm just saying in my personal opinion, Star Wars can be more. If we don't want Star Wars, obviously I want the original Star Wars. I want the core feeling of Star Wars to always be there. But like I've always said, I want different genres in Star Wars. And those genres aren't always going to feel exactly like the original Star Wars, if you guys know what I mean.
They shouldn't, otherwise you're just watching the same thing over and over again. Nothing wrong with that.
Right.
But
wrong with that.
I eat the same thing every day for breakfast.
Right. But then you're not growing. You're not experiencing new things. And Star Wars is such a massive galaxy that we can experience all these different things in Star Wars. And I understand where people are coming from, because a lot of people believe that Star Wars is a fairy tale and that it is for kids and growing up. And I don't want to lose that. And I think that still needs to be there.
No, I agree. And especially in the theater, the movie theater.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because that's where the family goes. I think sometimes in the TV space, because there's certain TV shows that the parents watch, there's certain shows that the kids watch, and there's certain shows that we watch as a family. And I think all in all, Star Wars does belong in the space of the whole family. That's why multi-generations can enjoy it.
Yeah.
But like you said, it can dip into the worlds that only the adults should watch this one.
Yeah.
They can dip into the space. They've been there long enough where just the little kids can watch it. And the adults are like, oh my goodness, why are the characters changing their mind every 5 seconds? This is annoying.
Right.
To the point where you're just driving you crazy, or the kids are getting away with stuff. Omega. And then
Shots fired.
Here we are. And so I think Andor on the TV, it's okay to push things.
Well,
maybe this is the medium for the TV.
Yeah.
And they do away with all the lighthearted stuff on TV or something, and they just bring, I don't know.
Well, and how do you make an interesting TV? TV shows are so much more based on character growth, development, and intrigue.
That's what Clone Wars was.
Yeah, TV shows are. But Clone Wars did a great job of going into that, but also keeping with the kind of original feel. But there were some darker moments in Clone Wars like this in a lot of ways. Some heavy stuff, people dying, some real weight that taught you as a kid in some ways. But for this show, I'll be honest, I look forward to the day that my kids are adults and they experience watching Andor and enjoy it like I did, and when they're adults, when they're old enough to watch it.
Yeah.
I think because you're going to get to a point in Star Wars where you want some other content, and then you get the adult side of Star Wars. Now, I'm not saying like adult bad stuff, but I'm saying
But it's like that with every show, right? If you're going to show your kids anything, and there's something in it that may be pushing the envelope of what they've seen or experienced, it doesn't matter what genre it is, that's going to inspire conversation.
Yeah.
So the family shows typically are something that don't inspire like super deep conversations where you have to sit there and explain, okay, this isn't something we would approve of. Look how bad that person, you know what I'm saying? Because if kids watch this is the content. If they watch things that like twist their mind in a wrong way that you would try to have them go as a parent, that's why bad things. I don't know. If you're not watching what they're watching and they're getting into
gotta
stuff.
monitor it.
What's that?
Got to monitor it.
Yeah, you got to
as a parent.
As a parent, that's your job, I think. I mean, that is your job. And so we're responsible for our children, and that's what you get. So when you watch something like this or any genre, you're going to explain. You're going to take 5 minutes. And so when your kids are old enough, we can show them this. TV 14 sounds about right. I mean, it's not for a government agency to tell me what age my kid has to be to watch something if I feel like I've trained them to be what I want them to be at a certain age. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like there's certain laws that are in place, of course, for certain things, and that's good. I'm glad that general rules are applying. But yeah, I mean, in general, like it's just you need to be a parent with your kid, and if you're going to show this to kids, this is what drives me crazy about content creators. Is they're like, that's for kids, that's not for kids. And so they're like, and then they blur the lines. They're like, well, it's rated this because it just goes over the line, but not far enough.
Criteria.
They're like PG-13 now in the movies could be a lot of things. Yeah. It's been a lot of things for like 30 years. It's like, wow, that's a hard PG-13 or that's a, you know what I mean? A very, very light-hearted PG-13. You know what I'm saying? So you got to watch out for what you're watching anyway in the theater. Too violent. Too much gore, too much language, too much whatever. And this show, as a more adult show, it's been established, is you just gotta be careful. But I think there's just a lot of good stuff that the kids would like. I think.
Agreed.
I don't know.
Yeah, my thought earlier today was, given a few years, like down the road, like when your kids are old enough to watch this, they're gonna see it maybe different than some people are seeing it now. Like we're enjoying overall Andor and this storytelling of the rise of the rebellion, basically. Some people obviously aren't enjoying it, but I feel like we're watching history change in the Star Wars universe and maybe in the fandom, because hopefully down the road, I might be too hopeful here, but
we're always hopeful.
Maybe they'll look back a bit more fondly at all of this and the dynamic changes that are occurring.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. You guys said it right there. That makes total sense. I think we summed up our opinions on the controversy there, and just
had to be addressed,
and just the limiting factor. I feel like of some people putting Star Wars in a box, but I don't know. But it's also just where people are coming from. I think that's what it comes down to. Some people don't like how much they spent for the show. Some people don't like what the creator said about Star Wars. Some people don't like the fact that Andor came out after Obi-Wan and Boba Fett, and they were so done with Star Wars at that point that they just disliked it. Because Disney made it, and all of these things are fair and valid. That's the thing. No, it's your opinion. That's we can all have these opinions. Yes. I guess for us though, we try to always give everything the most fair shake we can.